Okay, hi people. Um, let's see. Uh, First video in English, second video on the channel. First one was in Greek, the third one will probably be in Spanish. It's a trilingual channel. We're just going to start laying it out slowly, I suppose. A bit of material to get rid of, as it were. Um, okay, so welcome and enjoy the show. Um, let's see. My name is Aidan Holloway, yes. Full name, yeah, Aidan Holloway, doesn't really matter. Um, let's see, 40 years old, English teacher, former web designer. I've done all sorts of different jobs in my life to survive, basically. Yeah, and I don't know, it's just a bit of hands-on experience and kind of like the conclusions from all that, I suppose. Yeah. Um, I'm currently living in Puebla, Mexico. But, I was born in Scotland, in Edinburgh. Hi, people. Yeah, all right, man. And my father is Irish, my mother is Greek, and like I said, I was born in Scotland. This is what it is. I've I do alright with public speaking, but I don't do very well, I suppose, speaking in front of a camera on my own. So I'll just try and make this as straightforward as possible. Um, the reason I'm coming out and talking is basically because I think that many conclusions that I've drawn, like from experience of the past few years, are kind of pertinent at the moment, and it makes sense to discuss them. And somebody will probably be interested and maybe even helped by these conclusions. So what is? Let's see. I've been living here for about nearly 6 years now. I have to say the employment situation for a Westerner, I suppose, or for a European person with the university degree are actually quite good, and it's not like that in Greece. So um, it's a lot comfier than Greece. It has been economically since I got here. And you just never forget what you learned back there, So I'm going to try and combine a few worlds and see how we do. Uh, you know, um, yeah. So what it is, many times in life you're kind of faced with those days, when all doors are kind of like slamming shut at the same time, and all you can do, you're unemployed or whatever in a country where you need a PhD to work at McDonald's sometimes, just some cases like that. Um, so yeah, basically, I don't know. You just have to shuffle the deck and see how you can get water and food. Basically, that's it. Kind of a bit of a crossing the desert scenario, and so I was faced with another one of these days recently, and I don't know. I was kind of like getting used to them by now, I suppose. Not very often, but when they do happen, I just don't panic anymore. You know. Um, During the period, let's see, from about 2007 till about 2013 or so, yeah, I was unemployed mostly, yeah. And I did work here and there, obviously, because like there's no other way. But largely, I didn't. I didn't have a really steady job or anything. So you learn to get by, and you do learn the golden rule. Which is just respect other people and what they're doing. You might be carrying a lot more extra weight than they are. And what would we say about anybody in the street? Or anybody you would meet in the street, just to make that clear. Um, so eventually you kind of like deal with that point where there's like no anything left, and you learn to get past that, I suppose. And what you do eventually is, you kind of like get a job, and it's a decent job, and it's kind of like, okay, you're not an astrophysicist, but you're an English teacher, and so it gives you enough to survive, basically, and you're kind of, you're hoping to keep it that way. And in my case, my English is what is native, basically. So and I've given a few classes in my life before this last sort of period of working as an English teacher. So I don't know, I do alright, and I've got good chances of finding another job basically quite soon, because I just left my old one. And that was really the point for me all along, I suppose, was to be able to switch jobs easily. That's what really got me in Greece, was the fact that you'd have to, like, you'd lose a job, or, I mean, just to explain what losing a job means to me personally, it means you're doing very well in a company where many people are doing very well. It's kind of like 60 employees, and by the time the company's shutting down, there's like 15 left. I'm the one to go, so that's alright with me, yeah. So I'm not sure I have found the solution to, like, society, or what you want to call it, economic well-being or whatever, but I definitely feel a great stability, in this position, and with my experience as a language teacher, and my English is okay. I worked on it, so so maybe I've got a niche in the market, as I say. So just like carry on. Breathe another day and see how it goes till tomorrow. That's it. And many times, you kind of like delve into different aspects of, research or whatever things you want to look at, and you kind of go off on interesting paths, basically, and you end up finding all sorts of things. And I'm just not really talking about the internet here, I mean, it's true that you can get a better education in the internet than you can at any university at the moment, I think, as long as you know what you're looking for and you're sincere in what you're doing. But on the other hand, it's just the fact that life and experience are the best teachers, So, as well, as you go along and you kind of like receive your information from whichever source you do, you kind of like cross-reference it, and you check it up, and you go through all sorts of rigorous tests of reality, and basically leaves you with what's really going on, only if you're true, of course. Not to say that I do know what's going on, because like nowadays nobody knows what's going on or something. And that's what it is, So. It happened to me, and this is like way before kind of like Donald Trump or whatever, and it happened to me around, I suppose, 2008, that I started watching material on the internet that had to do with, I don't know, either projects, kind of like Secret Service projects and whistleblowers and stuff. It's very popular nowadays, of course. Started watching a channel called Project Camelot, which had a lot of information, from people who'd worked on these things. And okay, you don't really know if they're telling the truth because they haven't got any proof for it, and that's where kind of like that's what they stood on, to not give attention to what was going on there. But, on the other hand, there are kind of like various people speaking out on these different channels that deal with same subjects, basically, and sooner or later you end up cross-referencing some stuff. So, not to say that's the solution to everything, I just thought it was very interesting, and it did expand my mind, made me think on other terms, and to say, like the galaxy is out there, and apparently there's all these races that people are talking about, and in a way that different people are talking about, you can really, I don't know if you can tell the truth, but you can kind of say, okay, most people agree on this point of view, and most people agree on another point of view. So that's kind of the first step of like trying to suss what's going on, basically. But if we're talking about the galaxy, you can never possibly suss what's going on, obviously. So what it is, I don't know. It's like you have all this, and it kind of opens your mind, and you're like, whoa! But there's like these bad guys in the middle. It's like, what am I gonna do about the bad guys when I get to the bad guys? The bad guys, and they control everything. And like, what am I gonna do? I've got no money for electricity or some stuff like that. Yeah. So what it is, you just kind of like you're there, and but you try to explore things in your own life. Heard about different dimensions, and you're beginning to realize that you can see energy, in a kind of third eye way, but it's really quite tangible. And what happens in the end is that you end up exploring these things yourself, energetic things. You don't necessarily have to have a spaceship and aliens around you to do that. So I was kind of like walking in my neighborhood one day. So my neighborhood is Abelokipi in Athens, means vineyard gardens. Yeah. And you kind of like, I'm standing at the traffic light on one of the avenues that's in the neighborhood, and kind of like walking up and down, not knowing why, and realizing I'm standing here. So like, look around you. Like really the first time I was doing things which I didn't understand the reason for, but eventually the reason kind of came to me after, I don't know, 5 minutes of just performing random walking about and looking at things. And I realized that there was a spot which was like on the avenue which had much higher energy than any other spot. There was like two spots basically, and those were like the middle kind of aisle in the avenue around the traffic light, and then the other side of the avenue around the traffic light, just behind it, was a very big hotel. And I looked at it, and I could just tell it was like an energetic spot. It's kind of built on that kind of energy, basically. Um, and things like that make me think. It's kind of like realize different energies in my avenue, in my neighborhood, and yeah, it's got a good point where four avenues join. So you kind of, I was sitting there, yeah, kind of one day waiting for somebody, and started looking at the people going past. It's not my people, of course, um, or something, and yeah, and you kind of notice they're kind of going about their business, but if you look for the clues, you can kind of like make an educated guess of what their business is at that moment. The guy's on the motorbike. He's really cold. Like this. Or like there's a woman like holding her bag, like really clutching it and kind of walking with a worried look. And you're like, okay, well there's hospitals nearby and there's banks nearby, so just take your pick. And then the second step is, okay, so you've got this picture, so you've got about maybe 2-3 more seconds before this person disappears from in front of you, to kind of seek for more clues to see if they fit your picture. Yes, so they may or they may not, obviously, because you're like playing Sherlock Holmes and you just like going in your evidence. So you do that for a while. If you kind of like gone along that thought train for a while, I suppose you end up realizing that all this is really intuitive on a level that's beyond. So what you end up really seeing is a lot more than just a momentaneous impression, yeah? And it's funny because woman clutching her bag, I'll never know what happened, where she was going, yeah? But it does send you along a thought train, and the truth is, you end up obviously accepting that the future is not defined yet, so you can't really tell the future. Okay, and but with enough certainty, you can say if today's Wednesday and tomorrow's Thursday. Okay, but that doesn't guarantee you'll get to Thursday, or that anybody will get to Thursday, or that it will be Thursday tomorrow. That's a fact. But chances are it probably will be. Yeah, whether you're there or not. So yeah, it's kind of like first thought on reading auras and reading energy of people. That was my own personal kind of like click moment, kind of the aha moment for that, yeah. And yeah, so you kind of realize there's this energy in the air, and you're going, you know, you kind of Athens is very sociable place, you know, very big social scene. So you end up going to different parties or whatever, and you really realize that what you're seeing is not just energy, it's light, you know, it's real light that really blinds you, but in a very nice way at parties and in different ways in other parts of life, yeah, other walks of life. So begins the kind of acceptance, and you kind of think, well, there's a lot more to humans than we thought, you know. And for me, it all has to do at the moment where in a party everybody is like synchronized and nobody's having a bad time. I suppose it's called in the USA raising the roof. Yeah. Yeah. So you end up with a mechanic just there, of an energetic mechanic, which says if you have 6 people and 5 are having a good time and one's thinking about something, it's not the right equation, you know. So you want 6 people all having a good time. And personally, I always take responsibility for that wherever I am. Especially at parties, of course, you have many different situations in life where you just have to like chop through the jungle, you know, that's the way it is. And, you know, I have to say I have no criminal record, yeah, and I hope it stays that way, basically. I'm not a violent person, yeah, but I have got myself out of any situation I've faced up to now, and here I am, and that's all there is to it, people. You know, it's paramount to respect other people's space and respect other people's choices, I suppose. You know, and nobody, you can't expect anybody to do the same with you, you know. So you have to learn as well, you know, how to defend yourself in a very peaceful way, or as peaceful as possible, basically. So yeah, that's what it is. Let's see. Okay, so I suppose that'll do for an introduction, and see you soon on the next chapter, where we will analyze some more stuff, I suppose. This one's only about 17-18 minutes long. I'll try and make the next one about an hour, see how much we do, how much we get, and then we'll just get going slowly. Hi people, welcome. Hi. Thanks.